I think we actually might have just seen the worst call in the entire history of sport. And like, this is a shock that it is actually not DiJonai Carrington committing a flagrant foul. DiJonai Carrington got flagrantly fouled.
Carrington's climbing the ranks as one of the most disliked players in the entire WNBA, and after what unfolded in that Dallas Wings versus Golden State Valkyries game a few nights ago, things just got worse for her. Her rep took another hit, and not the kind she'll be proud of. After weeks of stirring up drama, she finally got a brutal dose of her own medicine.
DiJonai, DiJonai, you're always in a dirty play. DiJonai, DiJonai, once again, here we are today. Oh, DiJonai, DiJonai.
WNBA officiating has been sketchy all season, but somehow Carrington looked like she had a golden pass, dodging the brutal calls that players like Caitlin Clark kept catching week after week. But that streak ended in the game against Golden State, when the refs finally turned their infamous nonsense her way. And wow, the tables flipped fast.
So the ball gets swung, Janelle Salon shoots the ball. It's coming out, it's coming out, it's coming out. So, DiJonai Carrington is just shielding the ball out of bounds. She's just shielding the ball out of bounds, as you do. And Tiffany Hayes tackles her to the ground.
With under 2 minutes left and Dallas down by 3, Janelle Salon fired off a deep shot and missed, triggering a scramble for the rebound. Carrington rushed toward the loose ball but made a slick move, letting it roll out to secure possession for her team. It was sharp, exactly the kind of heads-up play you'd expect from a seasoned pro. But then, everything exploded. Tiffany Hayes came charging down the court like a freight train and slammed into Carrington from behind at full speed. Both went crashing to the floor. It looked like a clear foul on Hayes. Reckless, wild contact with zero control.
It'd be nice. She got that, acting like that face harness, okay, like to protect her face, her eyes, her nose, whatever that is. She look like a dominatrix to me. I'd be like, bro, who is that? She looks like it's giving Scarecrow, or like a Black Raven vibe, like a hawk, and she looks like a bird of prey. Okay, and that's how she plays. She plays like a bird of prey, while the other girls on the court are just worms to her. Okay, they are bird food because she be cooking and eating everybody.
And somehow, unbelievably, the refs blew the whistle on Carrington. Yep, you heard that right. She was literally just standing there after stepping away from the play, and she got blamed for the crash. The shock was instant and unanimous. Even fans who couldn't stand Carrington were left stunned, wondering what kind of Twilight Zone the officials thought they were in.
And was able to draw a foul. I'm like, what is this? I mean, she almost deleted freaking DiJonai. I thought like I was really gravely concerned for DiJonai Carrington's life and health. I'm like, did y'all not just see Tiffany Hayes just throw her body up against her and slam her to the ground? This is crazy. Literally slammed her. DiJonai Carrington got pushed into a freaking old white man's lap because of Tiffany Hayes jumping on her like she ain't got no sense.
Now this is where everything flips and karma storms in full force. Usually when a call this awful goes down, fans explode in outrage, backing the victim and ripping into the refs for the disaster. But this time, this wasn't just any player. This was DiJonai Carrington. And instead of outrage, the crowd delivered thunderous applause. The online reaction was instant, raw, and absolutely ruthless. The message couldn't have been clearer. She got exactly what she deserved.
Tyler's going down for a fast break layup. DiJonai winds up and smacks her across the head, and Skylar is on the ground having a hard time getting up. But this was something where people are saying, okay, DiJonai, this is happening a little bit too much for my liking. These hard fouls, these reckless plays are happening a little bit too much. And I want to show you guys one more play that was also in that game that actually injured Gabby Williams. Now, if you watch here, Gabby Williams is going up for a little mid-range jumper. DiJonai jumps to try to block her, and she comes down to where Gabby Williams doesn't have enough landing space. So she lands in her landing space, and then Gabby Williams rolls her ankle.
There was zero sympathy in the comments. It was pure celebration. After watching Carrington jab Caitlin Clark in the eye, rack up dirty fouls, and act like the league's ultimate instigator, fans were loving every second of her finally getting served. The replies were brutal. Finally, that's karma catching up with her. And now she knows what Caitlin's been dealing with all season. It was one of those rare moments in sports where justice didn't just show up. It came crashing down like a dunk straight on top of her reputation.
That call on DiJonai when Tiffany literally flew over her, wild. And then if you saw Paige's face, but it was like, I think like 55 seconds left on the clock or something like that, and the coach was like giving them the next play. Bruh.
The reaction was so brutally one-sided it turned into a story of its own. Even though Carrington was clearly the victim of a terrible call, no one cared. The public had already made up their minds. That's the price of building your image on dirty plays and bad sportsmanship. Even when something unfair happens, no one's jumping in to defend you. Her reputation had come full circle, and now she was finally facing the consequences of everything she dished out.
So once again, DiJonai Ratchet as Carrington is back at it again, being the dirty player that she is, man. So now we're pulling players to the floor by their hair. But what did we tweet earlier this week, everybody? Y'all fans swear I'm such a dirty player. I'm so over this narrative. But I just play hard as and I just make a play on the ball, and I'm tired of people calling me a dirty player.
Dallas fans were fired up, and honestly, they had every reason to be. The Wings were robbed of a crucial possession in a close matchup, thanks to the refs tossing logic out the window and rewriting the rules of physics. The Valkyries took full advantage, stretching the lead and sealing a 10-point win. But the score wasn't the headline. The spotlight was on that ridiculous call.
It is Dallas ball. But do you know what another referee called? Do you know what another referee called? So one says it's Dallas ball. Another referee, as you can see right here. Salon miss. Valkyrie's rebound. Apparently Tiffany Hayes got the rebound. And DiJonai fouled Tiffany Hayes. Apparently, Tiffany Hayes got the rebound and got fouled by jumping on DiJonai Carrington.
What made the moment so brutally ironic is that we're talking about DiJonai Carrington, the same player who spent the season slipping past consequences. She's the one who jabbed Caitlin Clark in the eye during a nationally televised game and somehow avoided even a technical. The one who saw flagrant fouls mysteriously downgraded, sparked dust-ups that needed officials to step in, and still managed to dodge any serious punishment.
As everyone else has seen this angle, I'm calling her in, and I'm saying to her, I need answers.
After months of handing it out nonstop, she finally had to take a dose of her own, and it happened during one of the game's biggest moments.
Is this? Look, pulling players to the floor by their hair is not making plays on the ball. This is not basketball. WNBA. When is she gonna get fined, suspended, or kicked out of the league for this reckless behavior? This is the fourth incident. The Lynx incident, taking out Ariel Atkins, taking out Skylar Diggins, and now the LA Sparks. When is it gonna stop, man? When is accountability gonna be taken for her being the dirty player and ratchet that she is?
And the context? That's what makes it hit even harder. This wasn't some throwaway mid-season matchup. Dallas is hanging on to playoff hopes by a thread and needed every win they could get. That awful whistle, where Carrington got hit with a call for simply standing still, sparked a momentum shift that Golden State rode straight to the win. This wasn't just karma, it was karma with real consequences. Her team took the hit for her reputation, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. That's the sting of poetic justice. Carrington spent months acting untouchable, throwing elbows, taunting opponents, and landing cheap shots. And when the refs looked the other way, she walked around like the league was hers. But on this night, everything flipped, and she wasn't the one in control anymore. The refs didn't just stop giving her cover, they completely flipped on her. And for once, the same awful officiating that's been hammering players like Caitlin Clark all season finally came crashing down on one of the league's most notorious agitators.
And she ends up getting Shepard in the face, the nose. I don't know which takes precedent. Oh, see, it's the hit the ball and then it's the pull back. They're showing it on the Jumbotron at a different angle that sort of looked like, watch after Carrington goes for the block, watch her pull back right here. And that's the part that I don't know if you separate that. Do you separate?
Normally, when a player gets burned by the refs, there's this unspoken expectation that the basketball world will rally with a little sympathy. Fans usually flood social media, analysts break down the replays, and everyone agrees it was a blown call. The player often ends up as the face of how sloppy officiating is dragging down the league. But this time, that sympathy never showed up. But in DiJonai Carrington's case, silence, actually worse than silent. The overwhelming reaction from fans was basically, that's what she gets. And that says it all about how little goodwill she's earned across the league. When people are more amused by your downfall than angry about the bad call, you've officially crossed into full-blown villain territory. And it's not just about her, it's a warning sign that fans are losing trust in the league's ability to keep things fair.
Doesn't matter how many times DiJonai Carrington wants to get on her social media and want to claim that she's the Yeah, the league's rescinding flagrant fouls on you because it's run by a bunch of cowards. They're flagrant fouls, they're dirty plays, they're trashy plays. Someone's going to get very physically injured. At this point, DiJonai Carrington, forget about it. You won't beat these allegations.
Here's the thing. Fans should be upset about a blown call no matter who's on the receiving end, even when the person getting burned isn't popular. But Carrington's situation made one thing painfully clear. We're not there. Instead of calling for better officiating, fans were perfectly content watching karma do what the refs wouldn't. That right there shows something deeper is cracked. Carrington turned into a target not just because of how she plays, but because the league kept letting her slide. Her reckless, sometimes flat-out dangerous style made her the perfect symbol for what many see as a bigger issue in the WNBA. A culture with no real consequences, and no one willing to step in and say, enough. When the league lets that kind of reputation grow unchecked, it's no shock when fans cheer a bad call instead of calling it out. And that kind of vibe, it's bad for the game.
Like, that might be, like, that is the worst call I've ever seen in basketball. That is actually the worst call I've ever seen in basketball. She just jumped through her. Like, she knew. Like, it is what it is. People will shield or get in the way of the ball and stand there. She just jumped over the back. Worst case scenario, it's an over the back foul. Worst case scenario, it's an over the back. Like, it is at least a foul on Tiffany Hayes, if not a flagrant.
Strictly from a basketball angle, this sets off major alarms. If a playoff race can shift because of a call that awful in a game that close, how are fans supposed to trust the results? When outcomes hinge on officiating blunders instead of skill or game plan, the league's credibility takes a direct hit. If the WNBA wants to go mainstream, letting stuff like this slide just isn't an option. A pro league can't operate with this kind of inconsistency and still expect to be taken seriously. Next up, the discipline problem. Carrington didn't earn her reputation out of nowhere. The league allowed it to grow, letting her slide on eye pokes, flagrant hits, and wild post-game antics without any meaningful consequences. If the WNBA had laid down the law early on, maybe this whole mess never would have blown up the way it did. And finally, there's the trust gap. Fans aren't convinced anymore that wins are coming from fair play, and that's a major red flag for the league's image. When karma feels more satisfying than actual justice, you've got a serious credibility problem on your hands.
Will not. Of course they're rescinding the fouls. That's what this league does. All right? Look, people can tell the difference between physical play and dirty play. And now there's a laundry list of evidence. Look, at this point, DiJonai Carrington should have been suspended, fined multiple times over. Of course they will. Now we're gonna hit you with a flagrant, and then behind the scenes we're cool. We're gonna rescind the flagrant.
Let's be honest, the shadow of Caitlin Clark hangs over this entire saga. You can't talk about Carrington's collapse without pointing back to the moment that lit the fuse, the infamous eye poke in September 2024. That's where the storm began. It was one of the nastiest moments of the year. And what made it even uglier? The league stayed silent. Not a word, not a warning, nothing. No flagrant, no fine, no league statement. Just a star rookie taking a finger to the face in the middle of a heated game, left to handle it solo. And what did Clark do? She took the high road. No whining, no retaliation. She even defended Carrington's intent and stayed locked in on basketball. That's why Clark has become the WNBA's ultimate fan favorite. Not just for her record-breaking numbers or viral plays, but for the way she stays composed when the league fails to have her back.
Looks like the eye's better. Or do you feel anything? Any pain issues?
It feels good. It looks okay too. So
immediately circling back on the play with your eye, what would you say to the crowd of people that think a hit like that was intentional?
It wasn't intentional by any means. You just watched the play. It wasn't intentional.
All right, thank you, Caitlin.
Now take a look at the contrast. Caitlin Clark took a cheap shot and answered with composure. DiJonai Carrington faced criticism and fired back with excuses and even more heat. One earned respect and loyalty, the other sparked frustration and backlash. So when Carrington finally got slapped with a blatantly bad call, fans didn't see injustice. They saw balance. No, it didn't erase what happened to Clark, but it felt like the universe stepping in. That one moment, getting flagged for doing absolutely nothing, felt like everything coming full circle. Clark had to swallow a no call. Carrington got hit with a phantom foul. If that's not karma doing its thing, what is? And the timing? absolutely perfect. All of this unfolded while Caitlin Clark keeps rising, leading the Indiana Fever with grit, poise, and a basketball IQ that's off the charts. She's become the face of the league, not just for her talent, but because she lifts the game both on and off the court. Meanwhile, Carrington is out here smearing the league's image, and now she's facing the fallout. The contrast couldn't be more obvious. One player is building a legacy, while the other is torching every bridge behind her. And if the WNBA is paying attention, they'll use this moment to think hard about the kind of culture they're promoting. Because when it's all said and done, this was never just about one bad call. This was bigger. It was about a league trying to win over fans, a growing demand for accountability, and a player finally learning the hard way. Dirty play always finds its way back around. DiJonai Carrington's reputation finally caught up to her. And the result? A moment that felt like justice. Not just for Caitlin Clark, but for every fan who's been begging the league to finally wake up. If you're all in on instant karma, drop a comment below, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a moment. Tap the video on screen and we'll catch you in the next one.